Hey everybody, thank you for hopping on this evening. It is a Friday evening and it is a little bit of a um, different sort of situation these days. So I know it's been a pretty stressful, a pretty ever-changing week this week. Hopefully you've adjusted, and again, things are ever-changing at the moment. So I kind of take everything with a grain of salt and I try to adapt as much as I can as well. So here we are, another week in the books. We're closer to the end of March, and I'm pretty sure no one expected that this would be the kind of year that we would be having, but it is what it is. And just like I was talking with my guest here a few minutes ago, you got to have a little bit of perspective. Hopefully, when we move past this thing, perspective will be a big thing that we all look at moving forward. So it's pretty cool. But again, it's Friday night. I'm glad that you're joining me. And there's a little something I'm doing different today. So today um, I'm actually introducing a sponsor. So um, I'm sponsoring the show, right? And we're actually being well, unofficially sponsored, but um, we're being sponsored by the creator of the, let's see, hairnet gondola. So, for those of you who don't know um, what it is, you can go to you can actually go to gondolahairnet.com, and the gondola hairnet provides a professional solution to containing unsightly debris within construction and demolition sites. They have a heavy duty construction lid that fits a standard half-inch wheel dumpster or the 1 yard wheel dumpster as well. The flexible covers are available in all types of materials, or excuse me, two types of materials, four colors, and they can be customized with your company logo to discourage theft. So thank you to Gondola Hairnet for sponsoring the show. If you guys get a chance, go ahead and check out. There's the website right there, and I go to www.gondolahairnet.com. Go check it out. Check out the products if you're into doing any kind of construction. And I guess everything's still a go there as far as construction is a one of the industries that I actually work in where I have not seen a slowdown yet. So keep going ahead, pushing forward. It's pretty awesome, and I do appreciate everybody coming on. And hey, check it out. That is awesome. Russ Johns is watching tonight. I do appreciate him hopping on. Uh, I would call him my mentor. He kind of helped me kind of get all this started. If you guys haven't checked him out, you should check him out. Go to his website. It's www.russjohns.com. He does all kinds of workshops. He also does a streaming broadcast as well, Monday through Friday. Uh, Monday through Friday, he does it 7 a.m. Arizona time is what he does it as. So it's called the Pirate Broadcast. You can check it out. I'm a big fan. I follow it, and I would suggest to you, if you can, get on there as well. So let's get on with this evening's guest, okay? She is actually, let me get that off the screen there. Thanks for us for hopping. She's actually a luxury photographer who also does headshots. She's a very, very talented photographer. You can go check out her website and see the works that she does. Let me pull that up real quick. Yeah, and it's at www.miriambulcher.com, right? And you can, if you guys get a chance, check it out. If you're up in the Wisconsin, Milwaukee area, where I believe she does travel as well, she could come to you. You can book yourself a session and get yourself a really good hair shot. Not only that, she also does personal branding, and that's pretty special. That's pretty awesome what she does. So again, there it is, the hashtag Pirate Broadcast, guys. So check that out as well. And she caught my attention the first time that we connected, just because I started following all her content, and when she was posting a lot on LinkedIn. So um, without any further ado, guys, let me introduce you to Miriam. Hello, Miriam. How are you doing this evening?
Good, how are you?
Good. I am doing wonderful. So we got a few people already watching along, and
Yeah,
I kind of introduced something this evening. I actually have a sponsor for the show, which is
that's awesome.
exactly, yeah. So it's oh, lost you. It might have been. I don't know if it's me. Again, that's what's going on with um, when you're doing a live stream. Sometimes you don't know whether or not the audio video is coming out, and especially like right now, since a lot of people are stuck at home,
Mm-hmm.
they're using their internet, they're using their streaming. So most of the times you're using a shared line, whether you're using it through just a regular coax cable, or if you're using like a DSL or fiber.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot more people on there. It makes something like what I'm doing, live streaming, a little bit harder. But
Yeah.
hopefully it looks like it's coming across pretty good. And if I can, I'll adjust it just so it'll get a little bit better picture. So let me go ahead and start with talking about you, Miriam. And let me ask you the first question that I want to say. How would you describe yourself to the audience for those people who aren't familiar with actually who you are?
Yeah. So essentially what I am is I'm a high-end photographer who specializes in celebrity like photo shoots that encompasses business and personal brand and headshots. So think like essentially what you see in a magazine like Vogue or GQ or something, like how they do those photo shoots is how I am bringing them to everyone. So there's professional hair, makeup, wardrobe styling, everything is customized down to like for businesses. I do a lot of audience and personal brand work, making sure that they're getting a really good solid return on their images. So, and I do multi-generational photo shoots, seniors, pets, and all that stuff too. So, yeah.
Awesome. That's really great. And you've worked with a lot of people that I followed on LinkedIn, and one of the ones that kind of holds a little special place in my heart because he was one of the first people that reached out to me when I hopped on there with Steve Sullivan.
Yeah. Steve is so great.
He is, and I always ask everybody that when I get a chance to talk to him about him, how he is, because the way he comes across I'm pretty sure he's just as he is offline as well. He's
Oh my gosh. 100%.
pretty
He's the
awesome.
online and offline, which is so great. I love him.
Well, awesome. Well, let me ask you, how did you actually start your career in photography?
That's kind of a not straightforward answer. So I started my career in photography because this is so funny that I'm doing this live, but I used to have a knitting business like way back in 2011.
Uh,
So I had to take photo and I was selling my stuff on Etsy and I needed photos.
yeah.
And I had worked with a photographer and it just was so painful because the photos took forever to get back. And it was just like, then I had new stuff and it was just a nightmare. So my husband got me a camera and
Hmm.
we really loved our wedding photographer. So I just taught myself everything. And then it just kind of like took off into, oh, maybe I can turn this into a business. And I started photographing families. And then it just kind of evolved from there.
Wow. That's
Mm-hmm.
pretty crazy that, something like that, being unsatisfactory with your other business could lead you into something else totally different.
Right? Oh, it's super
Uh,
crazy. Yeah.
I had another guest on, and he's a high-end fashion designer, and he started his journey just by seeing some kid walking on a college campus wearing a sweater, and he liked it so much. Yeah,
That's awesome.
and you see something like that, and you just takes you off into a whole nother direction. So, um,
Right.
so you were saying you were doing, kind of like celebrity photo shoots, and you do headshots as well. So, can you
Mhm.
tell us why having a good headshot is really important when you're doing something like personal branding or something like that?
Yeah. So essentially, if you have a business where you're selling yourself through whatever it is that you're selling,
Hmm.
um, and you're the representation of the brand, it's like critical to have a good language, I guess you could say, to that which your clients can really know who you are and buy from you like really quickly and like really efficiently. And photos speak louder and they speak first before words do. So it's really critical that there are, number one, good photos, and number two, accurate photos of you if you're the person who's selling the service. So a lot of people are like, oh, I don't have any headshots. And I'm like, oh, how's your business going? You know, if it's an online presence or an online brand. And it's really interesting to see the differences that it makes, because it's not something you can directly put your finger on and you're like, oh, I put my new headshots up on my website, therefore I have X amount of new clients, because it is more about the relationship than it is necessarily directly about the sales. The sales is like an indirect result of the whole thing. But it's more about like how that relationship pivots by putting yourself out there. So
yeah, you know, because most of the people, when you say the word headshot, they just assume and associate it with just actors. They're like,
yeah,
you know, oh, that's something an actor would need. Why would I need something
or
like
like
that?
executive usually, but then again, it's normally like a really old, outdated photo, and it's not something like up modern or updated or
Yeah. You know, and then you hear people say, you know, I think it's really important, you know, because it's like being in a business and saying, well, you know, what's your website? Well, I don't have a website. Again, you know, you're leaving yourself void, and there's you know, there's certain avenues there that can be, because again, that's how people are going to associate you
Yep.
with your business. They're going to look and say, well, you know, no photo, no, you know, again, it's such a important factor whenever you, even in sales, like you going on eBay, for example, just as an example, you know, you're going to look at the photos first, the product that you want to find by looking at the photos first, and bypassing all the other ones that don't have no photos. It's just a description, you know, and the product could be better. You never know, but again, a picture says 1,000 words, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so let me ask you about your journey on LinkedIn. How did you get started on LinkedIn? Because I always find this an interesting question when I reach out to people that I've connected with on LinkedIn.
So I was reading a book about getting leads last January. And in the book, it talked about LinkedIn. It talked about how important it is as a professional platform to elevate your, I think it's to like back up your first impression. It's kind of how they explain it in the book. And so I reactivated my LinkedIn profile because, you know, it was dead. I never really used it. And from there, I tried to create content, but I didn't really engage with other people, so it didn't really go anywhere. And at the same time, I had found Chantel, started following her, saw how efficiently she was engaging with people, kind of dipped my toe in and out of it, but never really like fully got into it until the LinkedIn Local series started up in the fall. I think it was like August or September.
Yeah.
And that's when I like was like, oh, I get it. And then it was easy to create content. It took me, you know, still like it was still work.
Yeah.
But it was only after that I started creating content that I started meeting like really great people. And yeah, it just like totally changed my opinion about the platform.
Yeah.
But really it was engagement that really changed everything for me, was engaging with other people. So like even, you know, in the beginning we were talking, I was like, oh, I haven't really like posted much, but I'll still try and get and engage with people, because I'm like, oh, as long as I'm engaging with people, it's still number one over like making content. So
Yeah. And you know, that's one thing about the platform that really that I really enjoy as well, because it rewards people for going on there, engaging with other folks, reaching out to other people. You know, so like the uber famous people don't always get lots of views and likes and connections, because you can't just go dump something on there and expect it to take off like you would say Facebook, you know.
Right.
Yeah. So like one of the biggest ones on there that I always use is like Gary Vee. He's really big on LinkedIn, but again, when he drops content on there, you'll only see maybe like 25 post engagements on there, because, you know, I get what he's trying to do as far as like repurposing his videos and putting it out there, but I think that that platform works a little bit differently, which is why I kind of enjoy it
Oh,
because
totally.
then you get the real human connection there. You get to talk
Mhm.
to people, and because I've used it, I've reached out to so many people and I've made connections. Kind of like what we're doing here now.
Yeah,
This is something I would have never expected, like doing through Facebook.
right.
Um, you
Yeah,
know,
you don't really get those relationships and connections as efficiently as you like would on another platform.
yeah, and it goes just beyond doing business as well. Um, I've made a few personal friendships off of being on LinkedIn, um, meeting people offline, and
Hmm.
again, wonderful things happen when you go network face to face with people. That's
Hmm.
the wonderful thing about it as well. So,
For sure.
um, let me ask you about, um, if you had any advice to say somebody who wanted to get into photography like you did, what would be some tips you would give somebody just starting out, saying, hey, I see what you do. They go see your website and they go, wow, I want to do that. How, what would you,
Yeah.
what advice would you give somebody?
I would tell them to not be afraid of lowballing yourself and to actually treat it like a storefront business. Because the problem with a lot of online businesses, or not even, wouldn't even consider photography online, but you don't need a studio to be a photographer. And so that's what I mean. Like, it's a non-tangible product.
Yeah.
I really think it's done the industry a huge disservice, and why a lot of photographers don't get past like 5, 6, 8 years, because they don't run the business like their lives depend on it. So as long as you're
Yeah.
going into business with the right reasons and you're going to treat it like a storefront, like you need to light a fire under you and you're like, I'm either going to make it or it's not worth my time. Like, the why really has to be strong enough. And if your why is strong enough, then just make sure that you're going to not lowball yourself with regards to pricing. And you just have to decide like how you want people to perceive your business, and then just educate, be surrounded by really good personal development people, really good business people, and just like run with it.
Yeah, exactly. And, again, that's sort of the same kind of, the same kind of idea. Well, I got a little bit different perspective. The business as a business aspect, I grew up in an entrepreneurial household. So
Mm-hmm.
I've seen, the struggles. I've seen the work that has to go into treating it like a real business. So
Mm-hmm.
you're essentially putting your heart, your soul, and everything into it.
For
And
sure.
it's not like a regular job. You don't clock in 9 to 5. There's long hours. There's times where it's going to be difficult.
Oh yeah.
And but again, it's if it's something that you love doing and it's really your passion, then you're going to make the sacrifices necessary to
Mm-hmm.
try to succeed. Which is why, like, I see you, you know, going out there and doing these sort of things, and I think your aspect of personal branding is very important, because that's again, that's what a lot of people are shooting for on this platform, is
Mm-hmm.
is trying to brand themselves
Yep.
as opposed to like branding, say, a business.
Yeah.
They're not exactly the same.
Right.
So that's one of the things that I really enjoy about what you do as well. And then I got one more question, and I always ask a lot about people who create. Where do you get inspirations from whenever you're doing when you're doing the photography, when you're doing shoots? Is it just like do you have like a standard idea? Is it something that you have to collaborate with the whoever you're doing the photo shoot with, or is it
Yeah, that's a good question. So I don't really, so it's really nice because my process is all very taken from that client's needs / wants. So it's all like very much not about me and very much about how can I service this client? How can we make sure that they look like them, they feel like them, their audience is going to resonate with them and all that stuff. So we actually create like a vision board prior to the photo shoot, and I take inspiration from that, or I'll think of things that are relative to their brand, their persona, their style, their business, and that's what I pull inspiration from. So it's not just like randomly picking, it's always like tied to that person's specific needs.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one of the things I've always wondered, because, the stigma that I've seen people talk about is like when they go to, I don't know, like a kid's photography studio, and it's something that they want, hey, we're going to do it this way. We want to do it this way. There's not much input. So it's more like this is set A, set B, set C, pick one, go from there, and that sort of thing. And I like the way that you actually tailor it to each individual. And I guess that's why they walk away with a better experience.
I mean, fingers crossed. Yeah, that's the goal.
So, what are your plans? I don't know. I'm asking people this now. What are your plans going forward? Because right now we're living in a time of really strange time, unprecedented times. Everything's ever changing, but what do you see yourself? What are the plans for you going forward these next couple months?
Yeah. So, I mean, like everybody, I guess else hopefully is doing. I mean, I'm just pivoting. I'm rescheduling my clients as necessary. But people are always like really a necessity, but it's actually the opposite. It is a necessity for businesses. So I'm fortunate to be in the position where people do need my services. And so I guess, that's based on value. Thank God, everybody has different perceived areas of value. So, I've just been working with people one-on-one to just make sure that, based on whatever happens, we are just making sure that their needs are taken care of. So if we have to keep rescheduling it, or if we have to just work one-on-one based on whatever, is happening at that time, then so be it. But otherwise, it's business as usual. I'm still, planning, fingers crossed, I can still put out some Mother's Day stuff for Mother's Day. But if anything, I'm really excited again for the shift of perspective that's going to be happening, because I try to encourage all of my clients and just in my marketing in general to live for granted their grandparents. And I'm like, but something could happen and they might not be available anymore. So why not get pictures with them, when especially they probably haven't had updated pictures with them in like the last 10 to 15 to 20 years. So I'm really excited, to be honest, to hope that perspective will shift and that people will come in with their grandmothers, grandfathers, and like really spend time with them and have a really awesome experience. Get some photos captured so that they don't have to worry about, if anything unfortunate happens in the future, that they'll always have those photos that they can treasure. So otherwise it's just kind of business as usual. My goals are still, goals might pivot a little bit, but otherwise they're pretty much the same for like the year. So
yeah. And again, it's whenever you set out and you start doing goals, at the beginning of the year, you don't plan for things like this. So we have to adapt, we have to change. And again, you brought up an interesting topic of perspective, because again, a lot of people don't take that into account whenever they go into another year and they go, well, I can always do it tomorrow. I always have the time tomorrow. And and like you're saying, you're talking about, taking pictures and photos and stuff with your grandparents, because those are lasting memories. And
exactly.
those are things you could never, I mean, again, that's why I call them priceless. Those are things you can never, once it's gone, that moment, all that will never be the same. You can never go back to capture that moment. So
exactly. Well, and especially too, because I mean, with the situation that we're currently in, it's something that's caught so easily. And like, if somebody who can't handle it, they can be gone within a matter of I hate to be so morbid, but they could be gone really quickly. And so I just feel for all the people in Italy who are suffering right now, because they probably didn't get enough time to spend with that loved one. And now what do they have? Because after they're gone, you just have those tangible things that, after that person's gone. So, I mean, I hate to, and I don't want to see this as taking advantage of the situation. If anything, I'm just grateful because, I've been trying to do this in my marketing for like the last X amount of years, is to really push and be like, it's about the memories. It's about doing it now. It's about not waiting. It's about making it a regular thing. So that way you don't have to ever have regret in times of, should something happen. It could be a car accident. It could be anything. It doesn't really matter. But yeah.
That's, again, it is a strange, it's a strange situation. And, I don't think it's taking advantage of it. I think it's something that it's the opportunities opened itself up to, so again, this is like what I tell everybody with doing this, what I'm doing now with video is coming like super important right now, because that's how kids are getting educated now,
right?
Because they had to become adaptive to the situation. So I don't think you're taking advantage. I think it's just the opportunity that's opened itself up to you because you're right place, right time. So that sort of thing. So
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, and again, oh hey, Diana, how you doing?
Hey.
Yeah. Yes, I've actually had her on. She was a guest on my show last week. So
no, I need to watch it because, again, like I said, I've just been so on and off LinkedIn that I feel so out of it.
Again, and it's just that's why I wanted to start doing this and reaching out to the people who have kind of like made an impact on me.
Yeah.
When I first started connecting with you and getting into the engagement side of, seeing all the content you were doing, seeing you do videos, that was like, wow, I wasn't doing it as much, but I said, that's kind of like what I want to do. And
that's awesome. Yeah, you've been doing a great job.
Yeah. So again, yeah. And it's something that I never thought I would see myself doing. I just pushed myself that way. So, again, this is going forward, my plans have shifted a little bit because really starting to feel different and passionate about doing video and getting it out there and trying to educate people how much of a tool this can really be. As I'm using it here just as far as like, I don't know, I guess you could call it entertainment, but again, if you're doing business, if you're doing, especially now, since a lot of people are, working remotely from home, I mean, how much of that perspective is going to change when they go back to work and their employers can see that, hey, maybe we don't need all these people here in the office, so maybe there is.
My husband and I were having that discussion. It's going to be really revolutionary for companies because it is going to change a lot of stuff. When you have crazy stuff like this happens, it just prompts a lot of changes, which is not necessarily bad, but it's going to be really interesting to see how the business industry changes overall.
Yeah, and I think this goes to not just business as you would think commerce, but again, I'm saying business from every aspect. So like I'm seeing like artists and musicians, right? They're having a hard time because they can't perform live on stage and that sort of thing. But using this kind of platform to say, hey, look, this is a good way to get live performances out. Do that sort of thing. See booking, try to get future bookings this way. Because most people just rely on, showing up to the clubs, doing small venues. I think this is a great way to market yourself in that aspect. So,
for sure.
Like you were saying, I'm pretty sure we're seeing a real paradigm shift when you're talking about the way business is going to be handled once we get past all of this.
Exactly.
So again, we're moving forward as a society because we have no choice, and as for as we go forward, we're going to have to. Well, my thing is always talking about proactive change,
Yep.
always changing proactively, because if you're reacting to any kind of situation, that's when you find yourself in trouble. And
Mhm.
these people here, they're learning how to do video now to go do what their job is now. And if they're expecting to go back to, once this is all done, back to the normal, I think they're going to be in for quite a surprise.
For sure. Yep.
So let me
Totally.
ask you, T, this is one more question that I usually ask everybody that I interview, and it sounds kind of morbid, and but I always ask everybody, what do you want to be remembered for? Whenever your time's done on Earth, what kind of legacy do you hope to leave behind?
Yeah. I think for me, I really want to be known for caring. Because a lot of my clients, they'll will interact, through the service or whatever, and I really want them to know that they are like I really do care about them, and not just like it's not just about the images, that it's about like, hey, I want you to walk away from this photo shoot knowing that you do look good, you are a beautiful person, like you should be confident normally, like so that's what I really want to be remembered for, caring, and that I am here for permanent change, because a lot of people are like, oh, photos are temporary, like I'm just going to need them again like 3 years from now. But it's more about those, what happens during the photo shoot that they can take with them forever.
Yeah, and that's pretty sweet. I love that. So have you ever thought of like doing creating a photography book, putting um, pictures and stories together behind some of these?
So I haven't thought of doing a book, but I am planning on doing, should all things work out with this crazy virus thing. But I
Yeah.
was going to do essentially like a campaign for women over 50 year grandmothers. And then I was going to host an art gallery showing
Oh
in
wow.
like the summer. And essentially, they would all of their individual photos would go up and it would tell their story.
Yeah,
So
that's
kind of just again it really draws back to that whole generation of like people not really paying attention to them, and third generation that was just supposed to be at home like just a housewife, like they weren't really supposed to speak their voice or whatever. So I really wanted to showcase their stories and their strength, because I think as a younger generation we really have to look to that, because we're going to be there at some point, and so we really just need to like keep an eye on it. So that's kind of, I never thought about turning it into a book, but it is something I probably could do. But that's kind of just similar to it, but not quite fully the same thing.
yeah. Because again, you don't realize it when you're younger, but you find beauty in age as you get
Oh,
older.
for sure.
You
Well, yeah, I have
you
lots of women that come in and they just degrade themselves left, right, and center. And, I'm just like, I don't see it. Like, I really don't, like, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, it's not necessarily about the physical things that you dislike. It's about so much of other stuff that you can't get with young age. Like,
yeah.
it's, but, perception, right? Like, that's really
Yeah.
where,
And again, it's working past the outer image of who you are, because again, I think I know it sounds cliche, but you can really find the beauty of a person just by looking at the inside of their soul and who they are.
oh, yeah.
Um, again, because you could be you could be as beautiful, you could be whatever what society perceives as beautiful, and um, a horrible accident could happen and it takes it all away, and then what are you left with? What
Yep.
is outside I think it's the inner beauty again. And again, that's a hard thing for people to accept, is that
Yep.
work past the thin layer on the outside, and you'll find the gold on the inside just waiting to be discovered. And
Yep.
I, I like that
For
you
sure.
have that perspective about it as well, because
Yeah.
I love it. I love just people who are able to, people who can just look at people and see them for who they
Yep.
are.
Right.
Um, I'm not. I'm not about. I'm not about judgment. Um, but that's just me, my faith. Um, I'm nobody to judge anybody. So all I can do is try to see the best in people. And
Hmm.
again, that's the only perspective I know how to understand and try to get across to people. So
Yeah.
and I guess that's why I find it easy to connect with all kinds of people, because
Right.
each person has a beautiful aspect about them. So
Oh, totally.
well, you know, I really do appreciate you hopping on. And guys, real quick, again, if you want to go out and check out her website, you can actually go to and see a lot of her fine work, some of her past works. You can also book a session with Miriam. So just go to www.miriambulcher.com and you can go there and see um, the gallery of stuff that she does. And you do travel, is that correct? Were you, I mean,
I do travel. Yep. Hmm. Yeah.
okay, so see, no limitation, folks. Well, right now there is because you
Oh
can't.
yeah, I was just gonna say not right now. No, it's safer nature.
Right now, but uh, we get past this bar and we get, wherever society takes us. She does travel, and again, her work is awesome. You can see her fine work all over LinkedIn, actually. So, um, I do appreciate you hopping on with me, Miriam. And
Thanks for thinking of me.
uh, yeah, exactly. And hopefully, I get to see you be a little bit more active back on LinkedIn. But again, of course, I know you got a lot going on. So I just like
Yeah.
I just like interacting with you. So that's why
Yeah.
I'm
For
biased.
sure. I appreciate the support. It means a lot.
So, guys, thank you for hopping on this evening. It's Friday. I would say I'm pretty sure you all got somewhere to go, but we're all, kind of stuck,
Stuck.
quarantined. Yeah. And
Hmm.
I saw a funny hash. Well, it's not a funny hashtag, but it kind of describes um, where we are right now as a society, and it was hashtag alone together. If that makes
Yeah.
any sense. That's kind of crazy. So, um, everybody, thank you for coming on again. Check out her website. You can also go and check out you can go see the past episodes on the YouTube page that we have as well. You can all find, let's see if you can pull it up. There it is. Yes, you can go to the Made from Scratch page and you'll find past episodes with past guests as well. And also, when this episode is done, it will be uploaded and put into podcast form. If you're not able to watch, you can at least listen to the conversation me and Miriam had. So, everybody, thank you for hopping on this evening. I do enjoy it. I'm very appreciative of anybody and all the support that I get. And again, we want to thank our sponsor at. Trying to get used to saying that because it's the first time thing, but I'm trying to get used to my sponsor at gondolahairnet.com. Uh, they're big supporters of the show. You can also follow its creator, Sherry Lawley, on LinkedIn as well. She's there. Um, she's a fellow pirate. And man, I do appreciate everybody's support. Thank you, Miriam, again.
Thank
Guys,
you.
y'all have a great weekend. Stay safe, wash your hands, practice social distancing, and we will all get past this together. We're the human race. We've always been resilient, and you know, just take it a day at a time. Everybody, don't worry about the panic and the anxiety and the stress because it'll all go away eventually, and we'll come back to being who we are as people. So, again, have a good night. Thank you, Miriam, for hopping on, and I will drop all your information in the show notes afterwards. So you can go check out again if you don't remember the website. So, oh, I forgot. Follow her on LinkedIn as well. She is pretty active. I mean, well, not pretty active, but she's on there a lot. She's also got her Facebook page. You can follow her there as well. You're on every social media platform. I think you're on Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So Yes, check her out. And oh, check it out. We got somebody from Italy. Wow. Did
Look
not
at you.
expect that. Yeah.
Um,
Nino Alfonso. Thank you for hopping on. Thank you, Diana, for commenting. Thank you, Russ, for being here. Leonardo, thank you for being here as well, guys. You guys have a great weekend, and we will talk to you again Monday when my guest will be another fellow Wisconsin person, Sherry St. Marie, will be my guest Monday evening. So thank you, guys. Y'all have a good night.